All right, I'm going to try to document the state of our garden on this first day of summer, June 21st, 2025. We had a lot of wind last night, so you'll see a lot of leaves. Here is the rhododendron that I was very concerned about, still a little concerned about, but it's come back pretty nicely after a lot of winter injury. The patio, not so interesting. And there are our double file viburnums that are just finishing up bloom. I'm going to try to do this in one take because I'm not much at video editing. To say the least, I'm lucky to get anything up at all. This is our copper beech. I'm anxious to record her because I don't know how much longer we'll have her. We have beech leaf disease coming in on our native beeches here. Always something. A few newly planted perennials, and that rhododendron over there is still blooming. There is the weeping crabapple, which is finished bloom, has a lot of little fruit on it. Typically every single fruit gets eaten, so I never have to pick any of them up. It's kind of nice. Crab apples can be a pain. Okay, and this is the other side of the yard, which is mostly wild, but we do have these beautiful columbine that were planted. Tons of seed heads, though they don't generally come back from seed. I'm not quite sure what's up with that, but the same plants come back every year, so who can complain? Okay, got a bench with a lot of wild geraniums. Here are those fruits of the crabapple tree. My blueberries are getting engulfed by other perennials. They didn't set much fruit up here. I have a ton of fruit on the ones lower. I'm not sure what's that about either. What's that about? These peonies are kind of beaten down right now because of the wind. But they're here. I don't have armloads of peonies like I had in Pennsylvania, and I missed that. But, you know, there are other great things. Lots of chives. The herb garden is coming on well. I thought I'd lost all that basil, and it did not take well to the cold but not freezing temperatures we had earlier on. Another peony. Here's the star of the show right now, Cornus cusa. Her name is Olivia, and oh my goodness, she just couldn't be more beautiful. She's got an interesting form, not the spreading form of the native dogwoods, but it's a great form for her. More peonies. I'm going to pick these as soon as I finish. The conversation set is under wraps right now because we've had quite a bit of rain. Some tarragon. Sage is gangbusters as usual, and this is the home of future zucchini. The arbor has a climbing hydrangea that has yet to bloom, but is certainly going all out. And then, of course, the honeysuckle, which brings the hummingbird, sometimes two. They get annoyed with each other, though, almost every evening. And our little goofy bird bath, or fountain, I guess it is, but the little sparrows come and take a bath in that upper section. On to the bean trellis, which used to be tomatoes, but I'm trying to avoid late blight with my tomatoes. And then the front is going to be covered with pumpkins, the little tiny ones. Here is our columnar palm tree that's required a great deal of pruning to keep her in a columnar shape. Kind of think I might have been stole a bill of goods on that one. Another zucchini plant, hopefully prolific in the future. Everything needs weeding. I'm sorry about that, but that's where we are. I need to order more mulch and convince Harvey, who mows our lawn, to leave me grass clippings instead of putting them back on the lawn. These minor challenges of first world. That's the blueberry crop we have. A lot. They really were prolific this year. Our very old lilac that I took a lot of old wood out of, and she's pushing some new shoots from the bottom, so I'm hopeful about kind of rejuvenating her. And of course, the forget-me-nots that Mary gave me are doing well. They kind of show up all over the place. It's always fun to see where they're going to be next. Here we go with more perennials. These were, of course, not established by me. I did stick a couple tomatoes in there. I don't know if you can see them because I had a bunch of tomato plants and I can't seem to give these things away. Nobody seems as serious about it as I am, but that's okay. This lupin was enormous last year, but not so enormous this year. It's sliding down the hill, and I think it might have had some cold injury as well. Though the wild lupins along the highway are just crazy. They didn't have cold injury, so that's probably a bad hypothesis. Oops, sorry about the sunlight there. Let me see if I can get, there it is. There's some coral bells. There's a clematis that was here when I got here. I have not done a thing to it, and it just puts on a spectacular show every year. What a gift. And then these are my raspberries. These are the primocane fruiting ones that will bear starting in August. And here are Killarney, my summer bearing raspberries that are forming small fruit now. So yay, food soon. Another perennial bed. Yeah, and then I've moved my tomatoes up to here because I'm trying to escape soil that's had tomatoes in it to try to get the late blight to come a little later. It was earlier than I would have liked last year. We'll see how that works. That's a little ornamental aster, the Rose of Sharon I planted last year. I think it may do okay. It had some cold injury too. And then more rhubarb than any human being could ever use. Again, I try to give it away and I don't have any takers. I don't quite understand that, but I understand that rhubarb can be an acquired taste. Here are our asparagus. We got a decent crop, though they're never doing quite as well as I'd like them to do. I would expect them to be going nuts in this location, and they're doing okay. I guess I need to be happy with that. A lot more perennials and more extra tomatoes that I just found a place for. And then if we go here, we see the peach tree, which I recently thinned. Oop. That one should not be left because we're not going to get any size. You can see I've got a nice peach crop. I took a lot off. They really pollinated a lot of fruit this year. And here's plum number 1 that's still vegetative only. Plum number 2, it's sort of an accident that I got 2 plums instead of 1. And I've got maybe 3 or 4 plums on that one. Apple trees, 3 of them. And the Japanese palm pine, no, it's Japanese umbrella pine. I don't know why I want to call it a palm pine. Once a fossil tree, now we know that it's not just alive in fossils, and we're lucky to have it. And then my 2 raised beds with potatoes and kale in this one, and tomatoes and eggplant. Also more basil. You can't have too much basil. And I, on a whim, who impulse buys indigo plants? But I did. So I may do some blue dyeing with indigo plants in the fall. Always something. Okay, let me see. I think that's about it. You can see the, oh wait, no, 3 more things. This is the twin cedars that cover up our wellhead. They were here when we got here, but we're just little babies. They're doing really well. This is my lovely, lovely, lovely dream plant, Metasequoia glyptostroboides, the dawn redwood, another fossil plant that was discovered in the 50s in China. And then up here, I don't know if you can see it. I'm not sure what the sun is going to do to all this. I have a linden, but it's not showing up very well on the screen. There it is. Yeah, the sun's kind of wreaking havoc here. But that's a little leaf linden. And then by accident, we happen to have behind this fir tree a regular linden tree that is wild, native, as they say, gun native. And that's the yard as we look down into the forest where John started the trail that goes through our little 5 acres. I think that's enough.